This clip is brought to you by SaveWithConrad.com.
When did you first meet Hunter?
Oh, God, Conrad, I don't know. Maybe, I don't know that I met him in WCW at all. I think we weren't together. I left there in 93 to come to WWE, which was WrestleMania 9. I would say after he arrived in WWE early on.
Do you remember your first meeting with him though? What was your first impression? That's what I'm trying to get to.
Well, I was impressed with him. He dressed professionally. He looked good. His shoes were shined. Well groomed, polite, on time, reliable. So all the things that you check your boxes as an administrator was what I was impressed with.
Right.
Professionalism. He always had extraordinary professionalism. So he was very, again, my term about the reliability aspect. That's the number one thing you got to have to impress me. You got to be reliable. I don't give a shit if you can do 1,800 flips or whatever you want to do. By the way, he didn't do flips.
Right.
He wrestled and wasn't a stunt guy. So, but I was very impressed with him. He had a meeting with him. He was on time. He was dressed nicely. He looked like a professional. And I always appreciated his efforts in that regard.
I'm curious from a television standpoint. There's a phrase in wrestling, TV ready. Did you think his time in WCW had allowed him to be TV ready, or did you still think he was maybe a little green at this point? I think he's only been in the business, like 3 or 4 years at this point?
He was light green for sure, but not bright green. He was light green. No, he was trained very well with Kowalski. Kowalski was the taskmaster, not Kevin Sullivan taskmaster, but a hard driven, like an old offensive line coach or something. Kowalski would bitch and bark and nip at your butt, so to speak. And I think that was a real good foundation for Paul. And he learned well from a great master. Kowalski was one of the great crowd psychologists ever in wrestling. And he was not only, he was 6'7", and he was lean. Kowalski was a vegan. So he maintained his diet, that vegetarian diet, and he seemed to never get heavy. He was a lean 6'7", 280. And some of the old publicity pictures of him, he was even called Tarzan Kowalski. He had a great physique. And I think his great physique from all those pictures, and Triple H being, again, the student of the game, impressed Triple H, where physique, and he was a former bodybuilder. He wasn't a great amateur athlete, but he was a successful bodybuilder in a regional level. So I think that was another Kowalski trait that he pulled from. So good, but he learned. Kowalski got Triple H as ready as anybody could have. And so that's kind of, I think he was more TV ready when he went to WCW than a lot of his peers, because he had invested himself into the education of the game. And he sat under that learning tree with one-on-one instruction. Kowalski didn't have 150 students. He only had a few students.
Right. So
he got to spend more time with his people. And that's what I would suggest to anybody that's going to try to go to a pro wrestling school, is that don't go to one that has too many students where you can't get any individual attention. Ask any parent, you want your kid in a classroom with 100 kids, or do you want them in a classroom with 20? It's pretty simple. So I think that helped a lot there.
Hey, it's Conrad Thompson. Thanks for checking out the podcast here on YouTube. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notifications bell so you get a notice anytime we upload some new content. And go save yourself some money right now. If you're in a 30-year loan or you have credit card debt, it's not a matter of if I can save you money, it's a matter of how much. Find out right now for free at SaveWithConrad.com.